Good morning and welcome to a rainy Sunday morning. For today's practice, if you'll grab a blanket or a towel, that might be helpful for practice today. So today we're going to start on our backs. So come to a position on your back. You could use your blanket here to support your knees. You could have the blanket on your upper back. So find a position that feels comfortable for you and settle in. You might have your palms open in a gesture of openness and acceptance. And just feel yourself settling in to your space, wherever that may be. Feel your back sinking into the earth. Draw attention to your breath, not trying to change your breath, just noticing your inhales and your exhales. Notice if there are any areas where you're holding tension and see if you can just work those out and let the muscles of your arms and legs and back and neck just let go and relax. Now take a moment to think about how you are feeling right now. How are you feeling? Notice if the emotions that you're feeling are pleasant or unpleasant. Without judgment, just noticing. And then take a moment to notice what the energy level of those emotions or emotion is. Is it high energy, low energy? And then once you've targeted the energy and the broad scope of your emotion, see if you can narrow it down and name what emotion you're feeling. For example, a low energy, pleasant emotion could be calm, or a low energy, unpleasant emotion might be uneasy. A high energy, pleasant emotion could be something like joy, but a high energy, unpleasant emotion could be anger. So just take a moment to think about that. And then once you've identified any emotions, or maybe you're not feeling any emotions, and that's okay too, just notice and then let it go. Take a breath in and out, focusing on your breath in and out. Always knowing that during practice, coming back to your breath is a way to keep you in the present moment. So take one more deep breath in, and then let the air go through your mouth. Sigh it out. And let's do that one more time. So deep, full breath in, and then let it go. Now roll on to your side, and you could use your arm as a pillow, maybe drawing your knees towards your chest. Just taking a moment here, coming into class, and then press yourself up to an all fours position. You can move your blanket out of the way. And we'll start with on all fours with your hands underneath your shoulders, your knees about hip distance apart. And just start to move your body, maybe from side to side first, maybe forward and backward. And as you're moving here, start to notice how your body is feeling. Notice if you have any creaks or sore spots. Maybe there's some tension in some parts of your body. Just notice those areas and be gentle with yourself and be compassionate and take care of yourself during practice today, knowing that all of the cues that I give are suggestions. So do what's right for your body at this time. So you could continue to move in a way that feels good, or you could start some cat-cows. So drawing your chin and tailbone up as you breathe in, and then exhaling, drawing chin and tailbone in, rainbowing your spine, and then moving with your breath. So breathing in as you come up, exhaling as you draw in. Let's do that one more time. So breath in, draw your chin and tailbone up. Exhale, draw your chin and tailbone in. Now curl your toes and then lift your knees off the ground just about an inch. And we'll stay here for a breath and then slowly draw your hips up towards the sky, keeping your knees quite bent. Let your neck completely relax and then start to pedal your feet. So drawing one heel towards the ground and then the next. And moving with breath. Breathing out and in, out and in. Now look to your hands as you're breathing in. Walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift with a straight back, drawing the crown of your head forward. Now exhale and fold, keeping your knees very bent. Drawing your navel into your spine as you hinge at your hips, letting your neck relax. You could hold on to your elbows with opposite hands. It might feel good to just take a gentle rock from side to side. Now pressing your feet into the ground, we're going to slowly walk our hands up our legs. Keep your chin tucked to your chest and then let your neck, your chin come up. Bring your arms up overhead and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So pressing your feet into the earth, take a full deep breath in and then bring your hands to your heart. We're going to forward fold. You can keep your knees bent while you fold. Tense your fingers, step your right foot back into low lunge and then plant your hands, step your left foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come to all fours and then sink into child's pose. We'll take one breath here. Breathe in and out. As you take your next breath in, press up to all fours and then curl your toes and bring your hips high and back to downward dog. As you breathe in, look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands, come to halfway lift with a straight back, hinge and forward fold, and then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Draw your hands to your heart and to your sides. Take a full deep breath in. Bring your hands to your heart as you hinge and fold. Tense your fingers. Step your left foot back into low lunge. Press your hands into the mat. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Breathe in as you come to all fours. Sink into child's pose. Breathe in as you come to all fours. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. And then walk your hands up to your feet. Come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold and press into the ground to rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Now for this next part, I'm going to grab my blanket and I'm going to use it, place it at the middle of my mat. We're going to be resting on our knees if that feels comfortable for you. So take a deep breath in and then hinge and fold. Tense your fingers, step your right foot back into low lunge, and then rest your knee on your blanket or on the mat if that's okay. So we're going to come up with hands on hips and feel the stretch in the hip of your right leg. So standing up, you could bring your hands either to your chest or up to the sky. Now bring your hands to your heart, and we're just going to turn to the left. So you could place your right elbow on left knee. Just a very gentle twist here. Take a breath here. Now place your hands to frame your left foot. Step your left foot back into downward dog. And we're going to pivot forward into plank or plank on knees, and then lower all the way to your belly with your forehead on the mat. Now press the tops of your feet into the mat, lift your chest up, draw your shoulder blades back and down, and lower down. We'll do that 2 more times. So as you breathe in, lift your chest up, draw shoulders down and back, and exhale. 1 more time. Maybe this time as you lift up, you could lift your hands off the mat. So using all the strength of your upper back to lift you. And then lower down. Now press into all fours first. Curl your toes. Bring your hips high and back to downward dog. And then take little baby steps up. Come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold. And then press into the ground as you rise up. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take a full deep breath in. Exhale, hinge and fold. Tense your fingers. This time step your left foot back. Lower your left knee to the ground. Rise up. You could have your hands at your heart, or you could bring your arms up to the sky. And then as you exhale, bring left elbow to right knee and just a little gentle twist. Breathing in and out. And then bring your hands down to frame your right foot. Step your right foot back into downward dog. Breathe in as you come to plank or plank on knees. And then lower your belly all the way to the ground, placing the tops of your feet on the mat. As you breathe in, press into your hands, still drawing shoulder blades back into cobra. Lower down as you exhale. And then press into your hands, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Now I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. So once you come to the top of your mat again, press into the ground, reach, extend, grow. Bring your hands to your heart, hinge and fold. Step your right foot back. This time we're going into high lunge. So now make sure your feet are in 2 tracks on your mat. That'll give you more stability. Now press into your feet as you rise up. You could start with your hands on your hips and then just take a moment to settle in. So getting your balance, making sure your knee is about a 90-degree angle, avoiding moving your knee out over your toes. So once you've found your position, standing on the tippy toes of your back foot, bring your arms up and then draw your shoulder blades down, still reaching up. Now bring your hands to your heart. We're going to do a little twist in this position. So bringing your right elbow towards your right knee. And we'll just take a breath here. And then come back to center. Take a full breath in. And then as you exhale, frame your left foot. Step your left foot back into downward dog. As you breathe in, come into plank or plank on knees, and then lower all the way to your belly. Now press the tops of your feet into the earth and press up into cobra. You could press into upward dog, lifting your knees and thighs off the mat. Lower down as you exhale. Press into all fours, and then all the way up to downward dog. Lift your right foot up into the sky, and then just take some big hip circles. So moving one direction, big circles, straight leg, and then move the opposite direction. And then place your right foot down, look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands, come to halfway lift, hinge and fold. And as we rise up, you're going to keep your knees bent. So press into the ground, keep your knees bent. You could bring your hands to your heart or up alongside. So sometimes called chair pose or awkward pose. So have most of the weight on your feet and your heels. So you could start by lifting your toes up to feel that weight shift, but then just let your toes drop to the ground, keeping the weight in your heels. Bring your hands to your heart, and we're going to take a twist to the left. And then come back to center. And then reach up, reaching, extending, extend all the way onto your tippy toes, feeling that release. And then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take another full deep breath in, hinge and fold, tense your fingers, step your right foot back this time, noticing that your feet are in 2 tracks. Press into your left foot as you rise up into high crescent, adjusting, finding your balance, standing on the tiptoe of your back foot, and bring your hands up, out to the sides. Bring your hands to your heart, and then we're going to twist to the right, so bringing your left elbow towards your left knee. And then coming back up, you could have your hands at your heart, and then lower down, framing your left foot. Step your left foot back into downward dog. Press in to plank, and then lower down all the way to your belly, resting your forehead on the mat. On your breath in, press up into cobra or upward dog, and then lower down. We'll take one breath here, breath in and breath out. Now press into all fours and then sink into child's pose, resting your forehead on the mat. Now place your right hand outside of your mat, and then place your left hand on top of your right. So you could use your right arm as a little pillow for your head. And we'll take a couple of breaths here, feeling the openness along your left side. Just breathing, coming back to your breath. Come back to center as you breathe in. Take 2 breaths here, and then move to the other side. So place your left hand on the outside of your mat. Place your right hand on top of left, resting your head on your left arm this time. And then as you're breathing in, feeling how your rib cage expands as it presses into your thighs, noticing the openness along the right side of your body. And take a couple of breaths here. When you're ready to breathe in, come back to center and then exhale into child's pose. Just settle in for one more breath. As you breathe in, come back to all fours. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Now look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Sink down, bend your knees into chair pose. So feeling the strength in your legs, but reaching, extending through your arms. Seeing if you can stand up quite tall. If it doesn't feel good to have your arms up, you could have your hands in prayer pose. So we're going to reach up, reaching, extending, stand on your tippy toes, and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So let's take a moment here just to settle in. Notice your feet. Bring them about hip distance apart. Feeling your feet settling into the ground. Standing up tall, draw your shoulders up towards your ears, down and back, and then your palms might be slightly open towards the front of your mat. So let's take a moment here and just come back. How are you feeling? And just take a moment to answer that in your head. We'll take one more breath here. Now press into the ground as you reach your arms up, reaching, extending. And then we're going to hinge and fold. This time step your left foot back, but ground your left foot into the mat. Your back foot will be at about a 45-degree angle. Now press in to your right foot as you rise up. Have your hands on your hips to start. Now shift your pelvis and chest to the left. And then bring your arms out to the side. So coming in to warrior 2. So feel both of your feet pressing into the earth. Maybe placing a little bit of more weight on the knife edge of your back foot so you can really feel the strength in your back leg. Notice where your front knee is tracking. Sometimes it may have a tendency to roll in towards the right. See if you can open your hip up a little bit. So drawing your knee to the right. I think I said that backwards. So sometimes the tendency is to roll the knee to the left. See if you can open it to the right. So notice feeling the stretch in your arms, so feeling an openness across the front of your body. So reaching front to back, pressing into the earth. As you take a breath in, flip your right palm and reverse. Reaching, stretching, feeling the openness all along your right side body. And then coming back to warrior 2. Now frame your right foot as you cartwheel your hands down. Step your left foot to meet your right, and we're going to rise up again into awkward pose or chair pose. We'll take a breath here, still knowing that you can have your hands at your chest if that feels better. And then rising up, reaching, extending, standing all the way on your tippy toes. And then bring your hands to your heart and to your sides. So press into the ground, reaching, extending, and then hinge and fold. Tense your fingers, step your right foot back, planting your right foot into the ground. And then press into your left foot as you rise up. You can start with your hands on your hips. Now this time, turn your hips and chest to the right and bring your arms out in front of you. Gaze out over your left fingertips, feeling both of your feet grounded into the earth. Stretching arms from front to back. As you're ready to take a breath in, flip your left palm, reaching overhead to reverse. And then coming back to warrior two for a breath. And then cartwheel your hands down, framing left foot. Step your right foot to meet your left and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up, but sink down into chair pose, awkward pose. Breathe in, release, reaching, stretching, stand on your tippy toes. And then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take a full deep breath in, hinge and fold, step your left foot back into low lunge. And then we're going to walk our hands to the left. So you'll be in a wide leg. Hello. I guess I didn't plan this well, so you're seeing my backside, but we're just going to go for it. So come to a forward fold, letting your neck relax. So take a breath here. And you could move from side to side if that feels good. So bending your right leg, walking your hands over to the left side. Maybe one more time. Over to the right, bending the right knee, walking your hands over to the left, bending your left knee. Now come back to center. Place your left hand right underneath your face and then lift your right arm up to the sky into a twist. And then place your right hand down. Now walk your hands over to the left so you'll come into a low lunge on this side. And then walk your hands back to center, forward fold, letting your neck completely relax, feeling the openness along the backs of your legs. Now place your right hand underneath your head and then lift your left hand up to the sky into a twist. Take one more breath here. Come back to center, then walk your hands all the way to the front of your mat into low lunge. And then plant your hands, step your right foot back into plank or plank on knees, and then lower all the way to your belly. And then rest your head on the top of your hands. So we'll take a breath here, a couple of breaths here actually. So now feel your belly, how it grounds into the earth, and just feel your belly pressing into the earth as you breathe in and out. One more breath in and out. Now bring your hands out in front of you. Lift your head off the mat, but don't strain your neck. So just lifting up just a couple inches. So on your breath in, lift your left arm and left leg off the ground. Left arm and right leg. And then exhale. So let's do the opposite side. So bring your right arm and left leg up. And then exhale down. Okay, let's see if we can do that again. Bring your left arm and right leg up as you inhale. Exhale down. And then take a breath in with your right arm and left leg up. And down. So take a breath here. Now we're going to bring both arms and legs up at the same time. So take a breath in, bring your arms and legs up, and we'll stay here for 3 breaths. 1, 2, 3, and then you can come down, rest your head on the tops of your hands. Take a breath here. Now bring your hands up towards your chest and press into all 4s. And then we'll come to a seated position. So sitting up tall, feeling both sitting bones evenly planted. Lift your left knee up, so bend your left knee. So you can bring your foot just alongside your leg. If you have the flexibility, you could cross your left foot over your left leg. So find a position that feels comfortable for you, still noticing that your sitting bones are evenly distributed. Now bring both of your arms up to the sky as you breathe in. And then we're going to take left hand behind. You could tense your fingers or plant your hand. Bring your right hand on your left knee, and we're going to twist to the left. So still bringing awareness to your sitting bones and adjust to make sure you're sitting evenly on both sides. Maybe that means twisting a little left so you can maintain that symmetry. But really sitting up tall and finding a position where you feel the stretch but you don't feel any pain or sharpness. So we'll take a couple breaths here. And then we'll take a little counter twist to the right. And then come back to center, straighten both legs, maybe give a little roll to your legs. This time bend your right knee. So you could have, once again, your right foot on the inside of your left leg, or you could cross it over to the outside. And you can play with the placement, so it could be closer to your foot or bringing up closer above your knee. So you can play with the placement of your right foot. So once you found a position that feels good for you, find that centering on your sitting bones. Bring both arms up to the sky. Take a deep breath in and then twist to the right. So place your right hand behind you, either tenting your fingers or planting. And then you could place your left hand on your right knee, sitting up tall. You could bring left elbow to right knee. So find a position that feels good for you. Sitting up tall and coming back to your breath. Breathing in and out. So come back to center, and we'll just take a little twist to the left. And then uncross your legs, sitting up tall. And then bring your arms up high, and then hinge at your hips and forward fold. You could have your hands at your knees or your shins. Just find a position where you're feeling the stretch in the back of your legs, but letting go of tension in your neck and shoulders. So finding that sweet spot where you feel the stretch, but you're not holding yourself, your upper body with tension. So just settling in. Take a moment to notice where your breath is right now. See if you can lengthen your inhales and your exhales just a little bit. Breathing in and out. Walk your hands up, come to a seated position. Now bring the soles of your feet together, still sitting up tall, and find a position that feels good for you. You could maybe scooch your butt a little bit towards your feet. So you can stay here for a couple breaths, feeling the openness in your hips, feeling a little bit of release, noticing where you're holding tension, maybe tilting your head to the right, bringing your right ear towards right shoulder. Take a breath in, bring your neck straight, then go to the other side. So stretching your left ear towards your left shoulder, feeling the openness across the right side of your neck, and coming back to center. So you can stay seated for another breath or two, or you can start to lean a little bit forward. So keeping a straight back as you lean forward, you could rest your elbows on your knees, and then letting your neck relax. Taking a breath in and out. Let's take one more breath in and out. And then sitting up tall, straightening your legs. So at this point, we're going to do pigeon on back. If you feel comfortable and know how to do standard pigeon, please feel free to do that. But I'm going to do it on my back. So roll onto your back if you're doing it on your back. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. So this is a perfectly good position to stay. You could bring your left foot off the ground. You could thread your right hand through the triangle in your legs and hold on to the back of your left leg. So really feeling the openness in your hip. So if it feels good, you can stay in stillness. You could roll your ankles, maybe even have a gentle roll, very gentle from side to side, just feeling into that right hip where you need openness and stretching. And always coming back to your breath, feeling like you can almost breathe into that space in your hip. And just feel the release and letting go. Alright, you can put your left foot down and uncross your right leg, and we'll go over to the other side. So cross your left ankle over your right knee. choosing to stay here or lift your right foot off the ground, and then threading your left hand between the triangle in your legs and then holding on to the back of your right leg and finding a position that feels good for you. So maybe rolling ankles feels good. Maybe being completely still feels good. But focusing on your breath, allowing yourself to feel the release in your hip. Just taking a couple more breaths here. Now uncross your left leg. Keep both feet on the ground so your knees will be up. Lift your knees or your feet off the ground. Place your hands on your knees. So take a breath in with your arms straight. Exhale, draw your knees into your chest. Breathe in, straighten your arms. We'll do that one more time. So exhale, draw your knees to chest. Inhale, straighten your arms. So now bring your arms out to the side, and we're just going to slowly move our knees from side to side with breath. So exhaling to the right, just a couple inches, breathing in, coming back to center, and then exhaling to the left. Breathing in as you come up, and then moving with your own breath from side to side and choosing how far you allow your knees to go towards the ground. So maybe it's a couple inches, maybe your knees go all the way to the ground, but be careful with your back, your lower back. So only going to a distance that feels good, and moving with your breath, breathing in as you come back to center, and exhaling to the right. So come back to center, and then bring your feet up to the sky. You can have your arms out to your sides, or you can bring your arms up towards your hands up towards the ceiling. And just do a couple wrist and ankle rolls, one direction and then the other. And then flex your wrists and your ankles, breathing in, and then point your toes and bend your wrists forward as you exhale. Let's do that a couple times. So breathing in as you're flexing, exhaling, pointing your feet and bending your wrists. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. And then you can bring your arms and feet down. Take a full body stretch, reaching, extending your feet one direction, your arms the other. And then come into your final resting pose. It could be Shavasana. If you wanted to grab your blanket, you can do as we did at the start. You could place your blanket underneath your knees, or you could place your blanket supporting your lower back and upper back. So feeling a more openness in your chest. So as you're coming into a position that feels good for you, start to settle in again. So feeling your back sinking into the earth, letting your muscles relax. So starting first with your legs, bringing awareness to your legs, and then just letting the muscles completely relax. allowing your legs to sink into the earth. Bring awareness to your arms. Let all of the muscles in your arms and hands completely relax, letting your arms completely sink into the earth. Bring awareness to your back. Allow all the muscles of your upper back, mid back, and low back to let go, release tension, and sink in. Feel the muscles of your neck letting go, allowing your head to rest and be cradled into the earth. Take a moment here. How are you feeling? Take a moment to name your emotion with no judgment. Now come back to your breath, breathing in deeply and exhale deeply. Take one more breath in and let the breath go. Now allow yourself back to your natural breath, breathing in and out with no control. And just take a moment to allow yourself to simply be. Feel your breath start to deepen as you come back into your space. With each breath brings more oxygen and energy. So you might feel some movement in your arms and your legs as you slowly come back. Take a few breaths here to take whatever movements in your body feel good to you right now. And then when you're ready, roll on to one side. And just take a moment here in gratitude. Thank yourself for taking time for self-care, taking time to just think about how you're feeling, taking time for some movement, stretching, bringing energy back to your body. And when you're ready, come to a seated position. And then draw your hands to your heart. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.